Welcome to Noble, a network of owners, business leaders, and entrepreneurs. Here, we focus on the 5 stages of business: launching an idea, establishing a business, hiring employees, creating leaders, and then expanding your impact. We hope you enjoy today's session.
A wonderful introduction. Noble, thank you for having such a wonderful forum here, a platform for people like myself to share my information. I'm super excited to jump into this money talk today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started with the presentation. All right, so as we get started here, all right, so it looks like the screen is being shared. So once again, I want to thank you all for showing up today, spending your lunch break with me. Today, we're going to be talking about the financial health assessment, and this is in our workshop form. This is where potential money bosses become pro money bosses. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's see. All right, so my name is Kayla Feagin, as you guys know, and I want to share with you just a little bit about me. We talked about, Jeff gave you a little bit of an introduction about myself a moment ago, so I'm not going to go through this information here, but what I want to emphasize to you is my importance in regards to financial literacy and my creativity. Along the journey, I have experienced different adventures in entrepreneurship, but landing in entrepreneurship in regards to financial literacy and teaching others. One thing that I've learned is that I absolutely love creating. I love designing things. I love using that creativity, but I also love educating. And I found a wonderful way to do that as far as mixing both of them together when it comes to financial literacy. I'm able to help people become the true boss of their money, because everyone truly is the boss of your money. We just have to begin to have those habits, that mindset, and to begin moving in that a little bit more. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. So here are a few topics that we're going to go through. The first topic is understanding your financial health, because it's important that we have healthy finances. We're also going to talk about the 4 types of money bosses, the 4 categories that you can land in. And we're also going to talk about building a strategic plan from your results. So prior to joining this workshop, you were probably aware about the financial health assessment quiz. That's the quiz that you take to find out what type of boss you are. Well, what we're going to do today is talk about how to build a strategic plan from the results of the quiz that you took. So hopefully you took the quiz already. And then lastly, we are going to review a few questions from the health assessment quiz to help you to understand a little bit more how to go through the quiz and your results, and to gauge improvements that you can make to get to that next boss level. Now, this is a question that I'm pretty sure you have been asked at some point in time in life. Where do you stand financially? Or maybe the question may have been posed to you in a sense of, do you have adequate life insurance? Or maybe a financial advisor coming to you asking you, how things are. A lot of times when we get this question asked to us, where do we stand financially? We think of a few things. We think about our credit score, whether it's good, bad, or it's poor. We think about if we have a home, like if we own a home, if we're a homeowner. Some people believe that their financial stance, where they stand financially, is dependent upon if they're a homeowner or not, or what type of material possessions they have. It's not quite it. Where you stand financially is also not just how much money you have in the bank. That's not just determining how much you stand financially. That's just telling you how much money you have. And lastly, your profession. Just because you may be a doctor or a lawyer, that doesn't mean that you are in a great stance financially. So when I pose this question to you, I want you to really think about the real health of your money. I want you guys to know what the real health of your money is, not just credit score or what your assets are, how much money you have, or who you are, who you help, but really get real about that money. So let's jump into it. As you're assessing your financial health, I like to look at it as it's very similar to exercise and fitness. Here's two categories. We can line them up side by side. In order for you to have a healthy body, there's some things that you have to do. Exercise often, eat healthy, practice mindfulness, sleep well. Well, on the other end, if you want to have healthy finances, again, there are things that you have to do. Spend time budgeting, planning that budget. Be mindful of your spending habits, managing your debt actively, setting goals, and actually reviewing your finances. A healthy body and healthy finances means that we have to put in work on both ends. I love making the comparison between a healthy body and fitness and your finances, because both are things that we absolutely have to manage and deal with in our lives. But why is it that one, which is our health, may be more important than getting our finances together? They both are just as important. So today we're going to talk about a financial health assessment. When you go to the doctor, they have you fill out several paperwork forms. And on those forms, they're getting to understand where you are as far as your physical health, maybe even your mental health. This assessment is helping the doctor to understand where you currently are so they can give you a plan to get to where you desire to be when it comes to your fitness goals or your financial goals, is what we're talking about today. In order for us to do that, we have to apply a few things. One is commitment, another is consistency, and another is discipline. When it comes to having a healthy body and healthy finances, all three of these things are needed for both categories. So I want to stress the importance of that. Just as important your health is, it's just as important as your finances are. So let's talk about some statistics. Let's get the real about our money. Let's see here, about 80% of Americans are concerned that they will not meet their financial goals in 2024. This shows a lot of anxiety and financial insecurities from a lot of the people in the United States. Mind you, these statistics are for the United States. But that is a high number, 80%. Like, that's only 20 away from everybody. Another one, a staggering 22% of Americans reported having absolutely no emergency savings last year in 2023. 57% of them felt uncomfortable with the amount that they actually have saved. And only 30% of them had enough saved to cover 6 months' expenses. We're going to keep going. We're not going to talk too much about that in this moment because we have so much to cover. But I want you to think about these statistics. Really think about them and the percentages that they're falling in. 47% of Americans say they tend to spend more than they earn. This is 55% of Gen Z and 56% of millennials. This is a pattern, and it seems that this pattern is increasing over time. But we want to make sure that you're not spending more than you earn, right? So a question that I want you to pose to yourself is, where do you fall within these statistics? Think about, where do you want to fall within these statistics? Are you on the end of the 47% of Americans who spend more than what they earn? Right? Take some time to really think about your stance in these statistics here today, because everyone is within these statistics. You're on one end or you're on the other end. Being honest to yourself about your money is one of the greatest things that you can do when it comes to becoming the boss of your money. We have to be honest about it. We have to be transparent. One thing that we have to do more is talk more about our money. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to go and, talk with the stranger on the street or, talk to people that you don't feel comfortable. But it is important for you to talk more about your money and get away from this conception that money talk is taboo, because it is not. There's a perception in our society that, we don't want to talk about our money. We don't want to have that conversation. We're not talking about money. And if we do, we're keeping it surface level and everything's great, right? So there's a couple ways that you can present yourself when it comes to talking about money. And this is just a little example. Some people are inauthentic. Some people are not true. They're like, oh, they're holding it all together, but they look like a complete mess, right? And then there's others who are all great. Everything is just absolutely great. I want to challenge you all to be real with yourself. Again, I know that I mentioned it before, but when it comes to change in your financial mindset and your actions, repetition is key. So be real with yourself. Be real with yourself about your situation so that you have a possibility of real change. All right, so we talked about the quiz. We talked about the financial health assessment quiz. Question is, have you taken the quiz? I do not want you to take the quiz now. If you have not already, go ahead and grab that QR code and just save it so that you can access it later, or the link here. And just a tip, when taking the quiz, make sure that you do save and print off your results, because that's what we're actually going to be reviewing and talking about today, how you can improve upon those. All right, so you've went through the quiz, you've answered the questions, you've really got some thoughts going in regards to your finances. You're thinking about some things that you haven't been in a while. And now we have your results. You know what type of money boss you are. I want you to understand what a money boss is. A money boss is a person who is in charge of their finances. And they're also in charge of making smart money decisions for a secure future. A money boss is simply just a person who has money in their pocket, and they are responsible for saving it or spending it. You're bossing your money around. You're the boss of it. But the question is what type of boss you are. What type of boss are you? You are a money boss, right? We're all bosses of our money. The thing is, are we good bosses? Are we telling it what to do? Are we giving our money direction? That's what we're going to talk about here today. So again, the question is, what type of money boss are you? If you've already taken the quiz and you're okay with being real, you're okay with being transparent about your money, share with us in the chat the type of money boss you are, right? You might find that other people are at the same level that you are, and you're okay with that. You realize that you're not the only one that's in that position. Or you may realize that you're doing a lot better than what you expected. So you can show off a little bit and share it with the others. All right, so now we're going to talk about the 4 types of money bosses. If you've taken the quiz, there are 4 different results that you can get. And I want to go ahead and jump into what those 4 bosses are. If you are on the lower end of the scale, you are a potential money boss. A potential money boss is a person who desires to build a stable financial foundation, but they're just struggling a little bit to stay on course. Here are a few words to describe this money boss, this potential money boss. They're learning. They're in the process of learning. They're motivated, but they do have some discipline struggles. And this is just the beginning of their process. It's just the beginning, but they have potential and they can keep going. The developing money boss. This is the money boss who is on the path to financial stability. They're trying out different things. They're using different strategies. They showed up to a class, a workshop like this. They're enthusiastic. They're exploring different things. They're committed to the process a little bit, but they're a little bit inconsistent. They're developing those skills. They're coming into it. Keep going, developing money boss. Next, we have a growing money boss. A growing money boss is one who is actively improving their financial skills. Like they're actively doing the things. They have a little organization, right? They have some consistency, some discipline. They're also improving their financial situation. They're improving their habits and mindset. They're dedicated. They're persistent. They're actively learning and applying that. Now, this is the highest level of money boss that you can get. Was a pro money boss, right? I want to encourage all of you to become pro money bosses because I know that we can. The pro money boss is they are highly proactive in monitoring their money. So they know exactly what's happening in their finances. They perform financial reviews. They know exactly what their balances are. They know what they're doing next month, right? They even probably know what they're doing the month after that. They're proactive, they're educated. They're vigilant as far as what's happening in their lives, and they're diligent in making things happen. This is the boss level that I want all of you to strive to be at, a pro money boss. At Inspired Finances, we do help you to become a pro money boss. So make sure that at the end of this workshop, you are connected to our email list, because we do have a Pro Money Boss budget accountability program that will be coming out here very soon at the end of this year. I wanted to throw that in there because we're all pro money bosses. So how do you grow from your results? This assessment quiz is comprised of 4 different areas. The first is your financial confidence, money preparedness, your money management, and your retirement and risk management. These are just the 4 main components of your finances. So as you grow from the results of your quiz, there's a few things that I want you to do, a few actions that you should take. One is schedule some time to actually sit down and to review the results from the quiz. Now, this isn't a 5 or 10-minute task. This is going to take some time. Actually dedicate some time like a pro money boss would, right? Let's dedicate some real time to reviewing these results. In order for us to do that, I want you to print off your results page in your email. So go to your email, print off the results from your quiz so that you can take a look at that. Also print off the actual quiz itself. When you print off the results page, it will have just your response. So make sure that you print off a copy of the full quiz so that you'll have access to all of the options. That should be in your email as well. Next, you're going to determine which questions you need to work on, right? So we're looking through this quiz and you're going to circle the questions that we need to work on from this quiz. In order for us to do that, I want to encourage you to set a priority level for the questions that need work, right? So how do we determine what needs work? Simple. If you scored a number 1, if you answered number 1, that needs primary work, right? That is the lowest possible answer for you to get for that particular question. If you scored number 2, that's that secondary work that's needed. So any questions that you scored 1 or 2 on, I want to encourage you to circle those because that is where you need the most work from your quiz. Questions 3 or 4 are more so on the higher end, right? Those are more for developing and pro money bosses. So this is how we determine and we pinpoint what exactly from the quiz we need to work on. So now is where we lay out a strategic plan. We're laying out a plan in regards to how are we going to take these results and grow from them. So these are the steps to your strategic health plan based on your assessment. Again, make sure you take this assessment. If you flew by and you took the assessment really quick the first time, I want to encourage you to go back and take your time to take the quiz, making sure that you're reading the questions thoroughly and answering honestly. Don't take too long to answer the question, trying to answer the question, in the best way possible. Be as honest and as authentic as you can. That was a tongue twister. All right, so our first step to laying out a strategic plan is to schedule your assessment review. We talked about that a moment ago. Make sure that you're setting time aside to review each section. Each section will take about 60 minutes. I want you to dedicate about 1 hour to each section. Remember, there's 4 sections. So I want you to dedicate 1 hour to each section. If you can, set a specific date and time frame for those sections. So this is a breakdown. We talked about there are 4 sections. These are the number of questions that are included in each section. Go ahead and take a screenshot of that if you need that or jot it down. The bigger sections is going to be our money management and our money preparedness. Just a heads up. Now I want you to create an example schedule. Really simple, really simple. This is a schedule that could take 4 weeks. If you want to just do 1 hour per week, right? In this particular schedule, I believe we're looking at a Sunday. So we're looking at a Sunday, every Sunday at 7 p.m. We're going to spend 1 hour doing each section from our quiz. This is how we can lay out our scheduling time. Next is number 2 is where we want to answer the financial review questions. So as you're going through and you have circled those 1s and 2s that you need work on, I want to then challenge you to ask yourself these questions. for those particular questions that you have ones and twos. Why did I get this result? What financial habits contributed to this result that I got? Also is how can I improve my results? Ask yourself these questions for each of those ones that you receive a 1 or a 2 on. It's really going to get your mindset going in regards to how I got here and how I can get out of here. Number 3 is to set an action plan for improvement. So we're going to ask a couple more questions, right? We're going to ask ourselves, what action steps will you take to see improvement? So we've already talked about, the result that we got, how we got there, how we contributed to it. But now we're going to talk about how are we going to improve, okay? And then in order for us to be more detailed in our action steps of improvement, pinpoint what are we improving? Specifically, what is it? When are we going to make these improvements, right? How frequently are we going to make these actions? Where is this going to take place? Is this like a savings type thing that I'm saving in a certain savings account? And why? This is actually should be in front, but why? This is super important. Why are you going through and creating this action plan? What's the reason behind it? What's going to keep you going? Lay out these questions and answer them for each of those questions that you receive 1 or 2 on. This is how you lay out a strategic plan to review your results. All right. So let's jump into reviewing our results now. I want to take a quick moment. Because I actually just saw here that we do have, let's see here. We have a few people that had commented and mentioned that they are a developing money boss. And that's okay. Actually, I want to commend you. I want to congratulate you and say congratulations on even taking the quiz, because you would have never known where you stand and where you can be if you haven't taken the quiz, right? And so now we have an opportunity to build a strategic plan and to improve on those results. Come back later, take the quiz. Hopefully we're all pro money bosses. All right. So let's go ahead and jump back into our presentation here. Reviewing your results. This is a little picture graphic of your results. Let's go ahead and step into it. All right. So this is the very first, we're going to get just a few questions from each section to go over. This is question number 2 from our section, Financial Confidence. How do you perceive your ability to achieve your long-term financial goals? As you'll see here, that number 1 and number 2 is on the lower end of things, right? So when you answer this particular question, I want you to remember that the key factor to changing your financial mindset is your mental ability to achieve your goals. If you actually believe that you can do it or not. How optimistic are you, right? In regards to your financial goals. We're going to jump down to number 4. Do you have a clear plan and you actually believe in that ability to achieve those goals? I want to challenge you to know where you stand. Know where you stand in regards to your mental capacity to believe, and continue to monitor that. Monitor that stance point and monitor what you're thinking. Monitor your belief ability. Okay. All right. So number 3. Number 3 is, how do you react to financial setbacks or unexpected expenses? It's very important that we understand how we react to certain situations, because life, how people say, life be lifing, right? Life happens. And there's nothing that we can do to stop, just random things or surprises from happening. But I want you to really pinpoint how you react when those things occur, especially in your finances. For this particular question, focus on the highest next number. So if you answered a number 2, I want you to focus on number 3. Focus on remaining calm and referring to your emergency plan or your savings plan. Viewing it as a lesson or a learning opportunity the next time you're faced with a financial setback or an unexpected expense. Begin to train your mindset and your actions to be more aligned with remaining calm and referring to a plan. That's what plans are for. When things get crazy, we have a plan to refer to keep us in order. All right, as we go here, see, we have number 4. Do you have a detailed monthly budget that you use as a spending plan? Well, let's see here. If you're at number 2, I've got a budget, but it's not always my best friend. Let's try to stick to that budget each month. So for this particular question, start small. If you're at a number 1 and you don't budget at all, simply just start budgeting the best you can or get help from someone like myself. I absolutely love doing this particular thing of budgeting and looking at your finances, which is what some people absolutely dread. So I help you to find joy, optimistic, and enthusiasm in looking at your numbers. All right, how are you currently managing your debt? This is a good question because it helps you to determine if you have a clear picture of your finances. Have you actually sit down and written out a plan of your debt in regards to how you're going to manage that? Some of you may be uncertain about your current debt, but not only are you uncertain, you're frequently adding more debt to the picture. You have no clear plan. Again, as we talked about before, whichever number you fell on for this particular question, focus on that next number up. So if you landed on a number 2, let's focus on a number 3. If you landed on a number 1, let's focus on that number 2 and begin making those actions to build a debt payoff strategy, building a plan to pay off your debt. I will say one of the first things to that plan to pay off your debt is to stop adding to it. That's one of the things that we have to do. So that takes care of number 1, is where we know now, and we're not adding to it anymore. It's not accumulating. All right, so we're halfway through the review. Money preparedness. Our question number 10, do you have emergency savings set aside for future emergencies? This is a great question because this actually ties into the previous question we asked about financial surprises or setbacks. If you have this emergency savings in place, then you have something to fall back on. You have that safety net, that cushion, okay? So when it comes to this question number 10, ask yourself, where do you fall? And then, as we talked about before, strive to get to that next number above. So in order for us to get there, we have to determine first, what's your number? What is the amount of money that you should have saved in your emergency savings? Sometimes, well, excuse me, not sometimes, the rule of thumb is to have anywhere between 3 to 6 months of emergency savings saved up. What would that number be for you? And once you determine that number, begin building towards it. The next time you come back around to take this quiz, you should be one number higher. In regards to the 1, 2, 3, 4, we should be one number higher. Number 13, how frequently do you perform a thorough financial review? This is really big because this actually helps you to begin cultivating better financial practices. It helps you to begin changing your financial mindset because you're constantly looking at your finances. You have your eyes on it and you know what's going on. So again, and this particular question, if you're only looking at your finances maybe once a year or just occasionally, let's try to bump that up to maybe once per quarter, once every 3 months. So again, we're going to use this question as a guide, right? If you fell at number 2, I want you to strive for the next number up. I desire for all of you to strive for number 4, which is where you review your finances regularly. Every month, you should be looking at your budget, creating a budget, and making sure that you're sticking to that budget. Okay, so we have a question here. I'm going to go ahead and ask it since I see it pop up here. Oh, actually, no. Okay, let's keep going. All right, risk management. This is a really good one because sometimes we forget. We forget about insurance, right? Now, I want to gauge something here. Let's see here. Not by show of hands, in the comment box, put a yes in the comment box if you have insurance on your cell phone. Put a yes in the comment box if you have insurance on your cell phone. I want to see how many of us are covered. What I'm guessing that everyone has coverage on their cell phone. But if you have coverage on your cell phone, then my question is, do we have adequate coverage when it comes to everything else in our finances? It's important that we search for the coverage that we need, right? Cell phone coverage, we could say, I mean, it's a need. Like it's more so, I wouldn't say discretionary because we pay a lot of money for our phones, so we want to make sure we protect it, right? But is life insurance a little bit more like not a little. Life insurance is a lot more important than our insurance on our cell phone, right? Having auto insurance is just as important. Having long-term care insurance for when we become older, making sure that we're able to take, care of that we're able to be taken care of. So I want you to think about that. I'm going to take a look at some of these questions. We have a few people. Okay, so we have a few people that said that they canceled it. They canceled their cell phone insurance, and then we have one that says that they do have it. So we have a mixed feature here, right? And that question could actually go a little bit deeper, because I do know the more expensive your phone, right? You're going to have that insurance coverage for it. So we're going to move along. Remember, search for the coverage that you need. If something was to happen in that particular financially related area in your life, how impactful will it be? How impactful will it be if you get into a car accident with no insurance versus when you drop or you lose your phone? Really big different impacts there. All right, let's keep moving on here. Do you frequently withdraw from your retirement or savings funds for non-retirement related expenses? This is super big because it's going to determine your ability to keep your savings where they are. In order for us to improve on this area, I want to encourage you to set money laws. Set specific rules in regards to how you will utilize your retirement funds and your emergency savings. Be specific in regards to what am I allowed to use the savings for? What would be the reasons why? What would be the reasons that I'm able to access my savings? Where will I keep this savings? If it's not a retirement, where am I keeping it to make sure that I'm not touching it? When am I allowed to access it? Ask yourself these questions when it comes to dipping back into a savings that you have for emergencies. All right, so we took a moment to review a few of the questions from the actual quiz. At this time, we're going to talk about your future review. So we've taken the quiz. Let's say we take the quiz today. Well, I want to encourage you to take the quiz again in 6 months, only if you've taken the time to build a strategic plan from your current results, right? Because we want to make sure that we've made that plan, we've made some changes, and then we're going to see how well we've done over the past 6 months in improving our results. So here's what a 6-month assessment would look like. You prepare for the 6-month assessment by performing healthy financial discipline for 6 months, right? So you're going to practice, you're going to work on those 1s and 2s, making them 3s and 4s. I want you to be intentional with your money during this 6-month time period, okay? Like I said before, you're going to retake the quiz and you're going to reflect on your past month's actions and spending, savings, all that jazz. As you take the quiz again, you're going to take a look and reflect on some of those questions. Excuse me, some of these questions that we have here in front of us. Did your results change, right? If you were a developing money boss before, are you a higher money boss? Are you a potential money boss? Are you a growing money boss? What changes in your habits contributed to your new results? We'll also talk about, also ask yourself what sacrifices you could have made, what you could have done better, and what you can improve upon. I want to remind you that commitment, consistency, and discipline is going to take you far in changing your financial results for the quiz. So let's have a moment of reflection. Let's have a quick moment of reflection here as we wrap up. Again, we're going to talk about getting real. We're going to be getting real about your money boss status and just real about the whole picture. We're going to be authentic, right? We're going to be true to ourselves about our situation. First question I want you to ask yourself for a moment of reflection is, how has my past money mindset and habits impacted my assessment results? Take a moment to think about that. Number 2 is, what would my financial life look like if I manage my money like a pro money boss? This is where we can get fun. We can use our enthusiasm and be optimistic. What is it that your life would look like? Like, write it down in bullet point. Just have fun with it. Number 3 is, what am I willing to sacrifice? That's a good one. What am I willing to sacrifice to become a pro money boss and manage my money to accomplish my goals? What are you willing to change? These are some really good questions. So I want to encourage you to ask yourself these questions and reflect on this, because the change starts in here. That change in your mindset carries over into your actions. And then you'll be able to see that change in your bank account. So what is your next step? The next step is setting a budget that you can commit to. I'm super, super excited to share with you all the 6 steps to a committed budget live workshop. This is a workshop where we're going to be doing a live follow along, and you're going to see these 6 steps to this method as we go through it live. So what's included in this? Let's see here. Let's have everything show up. Oh, no, the little video doesn't play. It's okay. So what this is if you've been having trouble creating a budget and sticking to that budget, I've created 6 steps for you to create a committed budget. This is a budget that you can actually commit to. Your commitment will be to 2 things. You'll have a commitment to savings, and you'll have a commitment to your debt, right? And so as you go through and you create the 6 steps for this budget, you'll have the ability to do so inside of Excel. On the screen here, you'll see just a screenshot of what it will look like, but it walks you through those steps to where you can create a committed budget and you can monitor that budget. It comes with 5 pre-calculated budget sheets in Excel, and there's some other goodies that's included in there. I want to make sure that you get access to this workshop at a special offer. So we will be offering this workshop for half off at $49 only. I want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to get in here to see this, because not only will we be doing the 6 steps live, but you'll receive a download version of the file yourself. And so you'll be able to go through and type in your finances and work through your 6 steps live with us together, right? Not only that, but you're going to walk away with tabs and templates for your budget coming up. So this is helping you to become a pro money boss. So build your budget with me and let's get committed. All right, so this sums up everything that I have to share with you guys. I want to make sure that we do leave some time for any questions, any comments that you all would like to ask. All right, and yes, we have someone in the comments that mentioned that they signed up. I'm super, yeah, we do have a few people that signed up for this workshop. I know I'm super excited about it. And this little picture here in the Q&A, this is actually a bit of a screenshot as far as what the budget sheet looks like. And the budget sheet is automatically calculated. So you don't have to go in and create your budget, for that month. It's automatically done. All right, so that's enough on the 6 steps to a committed budget. You can tell that I'm in love with the process. I pray that you find great help and great success and value in it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for any questions, comments from our group.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is it wise to invest if you have a lot of debt? Or would it be better to use that money to accelerate getting out of debt? I know that's a question that probably gets asked a lot. So I'm just curious what your take on that is.
Yeah. No, that's a really, really good question, because it's something that we all face, right? We want to save up, but once we get this savings, we're like, I don't want to spend it all on my debt, and then I'll have to start over. Well, one thing that I'll say in regards to that is, I would suggest for you to pay off that debt. And this is the reason why, especially if it is consumer debt. You really want to pay attention to that interest rate. You may be saving money over here, but if you're not earning as much as you're responsible to pay in interest every month, then that savings is not doing too much for you, right? You have debt over here and you're accumulating about $200 in interest every single month, right? But you're only earning maybe like $10 in interest on your savings. Go ahead and transfer that over, right, to knock it out, because your debt is steadily growing every month based on that interest. So I would encourage you to, definitely go ahead and pay that off. But it's a strategy game, because you want to make sure that you have a little something left over, not left over, but you want to have a little bit of emergency savings, right? So it's definitely a strategy question, but I definitely suggest that you begin to pay off that debt. I hope that helps.
Yeah, you just helped me win an argument, so thank you. That's good.
I hope you won.
I was having this discussion with a friend last night, and I basically said what you just said, but I want to make sure I wasn't too off base on that.
Yeah, it's good. That's a good question. You got it, Jeff. You're a pro money boss, Jeff. All right. Do we have any other questions? That was really good.
I have it's kind of a comment and a question at the same time, but it's a challenge when your spouse isn't as serious or intense as you are with, say, money.
Yes. Yes. That's definitely true. So I recently did a class, a 7-week class, and that actually came up. A few of the women in the class had spouses who weren't as diligent, right, with the financial budgeting and the whole money management. What I suggested for them, and a couple of them actually went and did it, I suggested for them to get their partner or get their spouse involved in the process a little bit more. So when it comes to sitting down and doing the budgeting, try to include them. It may be boring, right? So try to incorporate it and, include a little game, right? Help them to determine, if we did an exercise, I think it was like the $1 million. You sit down with your partner and you make it fun. You make it optimistic. If we got $1 million today, what would you want to spend it on? Take 5 or 10 minutes just to bring a little bit of fun out of it. Another thing that I would suggest is to, it's your partner, right? Reward them in some type of way. Tell them, we can, sit down and, watch a movie or something that they like, get them a nice treat, right? For actually sitting down and doing the budgeting with you. But it just involves being creative and finding a way to grasp their attention, to get them incorporated in the process where you're sitting down and you're doing your finances together.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions for me? And be the example. Be the leader, right? Show them the lead to follow. All right, do we have any others? All right, well, I want to thank you all. Thank you all for allowing me to share this information with you. I really, really hope that you all have taken the quiz. If you've not, make sure that you do take the quiz. And in the meantime, I would love to talk with you about fixing your money situation. Please follow me on social media that you see here on your screen. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. And thank you once again for participating in the Financial Health Assessment Workshop.
All right.